legislature. So we find the Premier in transit today. Premier, thanks for taking our call.
John, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. Reflections on the sitting. Did you get done what you were aiming to do?
We did. As you know, a few days before the session was called back with the speech from the throne, we announced our growth plan for the province to the Vision 2020 document that has a lot of specific targets and measures to do two things. One, try to keep the growth going. Even though we know governments don't create jobs, they can do things that will sustain economic growth. We know that growth is a good thing because it helps us broaden our tax base, and we can invest more in healthcare and education and quality of life and keep this virtuous circle moving in the right direction. So we know it's a good thing, but it presents its challenges. And I guess that's the second part of that document. We highlight the fact that we need to continue to deal with the challenges of growth around the labor shortage that we have, around infrastructure, housing. And so it formed the basis for the speech from the throne and then the session. You know, John, quickly, there's some specific things that we did as well, promises that we've kept. Some were made in the summer, some in the campaign. We had promised to improve and augment the RESP program that is a federal program by kind of putting some provincial capacity into it, so parents can, with that, with the incentive, with matching, put a bit more money away for their kids saving for post-secondary. So that was part of it. Some tightening up in the orange zone. We announced some major changes in terms of how liquor will be sold in the future in urban centers. We've always had private stores, as we've discussed, in the rural areas principally, and private vendors and off sale in the urban areas as well. Now we're going to see, as we need new stores in growing areas of our cities, those will be through an RFP, a transparent process. Those will be private stores going forward. And then, of course, we announced that we're going to move to a public offering for 60% of Information Services Corporation. This is a Crown corporation that wasn't in the Crown Protection Act, wasn't protected either by the NDP or in our platform in terms of a different way of doing things. We think this company, headquartered in the province permanently, can grow and expand and create jobs here in our capital city and across the province as a national and international company, and so a share offering will help it to do that. So final thing, I guess, was the midterm report came out. Those are the books, and we're on track to be the only province in the country with a balanced budget. And that's both on the general revenue fund, that's the operating account of the province, and we keep those books, and on a summary financial basis, notwithstanding what you may have heard from my friend earlier this hour. On both counts, we're moving towards a balance. Again, you know, the only province in Canada to do that, because that's also part of our growth plan, that fiscal responsibility we want for the province.
Mr. Nielsen says that the NDP stuck around. They would have gone completely to summary accounting, as every other province has. Why haven't you done that?
Well, I don't believe them. Not for a second. Interesting history, that. You know, we... in opposition, were asked up until I think 2003, and I could have the years wrong, but certainly not the story, not the narrative. Up until about 2003, 2004, it was the opposition Sask party. In fact, I think our finance critic was Ken Kravets, the current finance minister, was going after the NDP because they weren't reporting at all on summary financial statements. Remember what those summary financial statements are. It's the entire books of the province. So pension liabilities are in there. Crown debt is in there. It's everything. The GRF we talk about, that's the operating budget. That's the revenues and expenditures operating the government of Saskatchewan proper. The NDP refused to go to any kind of summary reporting. We made a point of it in those years. And I think in about 2004, they finally switched to doing both. By the way, that is precisely what we're doing today. We don't deny either the auditor or any other Saskatchewan person a full look at all the books. We report both the summary, this large, the larger piece, and we report on the general revenue fund, the operating budget. If the NDP were serious about going exclusively to summary, as their revised history would have him saying now, they would have done it. They would have had a couple of budgets to do it. The fact is they had to be dragged into any kind of summary reporting at all, and they didn't get it. They didn't make the change, and I think they would have had 2 or 3 budgets to do that.
Before I let you go, Mr. Nielsen says your government looks tired and the NDP caucus is younger than yours.
Someone should tell that to Dustin Duncan and some of our guys on our side. Well, I don't think I think John might be seeing things that he would like to see, but I don't think that's the case. I think we're working hard as a government. We have to keep the promises we made, but you've seen some significant change that we've introduced, the modernization of, decades-old liquor legislation. Some of it's still more small C conservative than anywhere else in the country, certainly, but lots of changes there. Big changes for ISC, changes how in terms of how we retail liquor in this province, in the cities. That doesn't sound like a government that's tired. It sounds like one that's pretty honored to be there, has some promises to keep, but also has a vision to try to keep this province moving forward.
Premier, appreciate you checking in on the wrap of the fall legislature. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, we'll see you on the regular show. Thanks, John.
All right, Premier Brad Wall with us. So we will have one more session of Ask the Premier, which is a monthly thing we do later on in this month of December.